and welcome to our Touchbase Thursday for July 16th. I am starting my amazingly sweet little granddaughter off early and getting her stamping. Look at this. She was playing with a block earlier and having a ball with it. I'm just going to give it a minute for me to show up that I'm live, and if you guys want to go ahead and comment. Isn't she adorable? So this is Chloe, for those of you that haven't seen a picture of her lately. I know you've all heard me talk about her, but isn't she just the sweetest little thing? Yeah, we tend to be a little bit partial here and totally think she's just the apple of our eye. So anyway, had to share her with you. So as long as she's being good and you guys don't mind, I'm going to hang on to her while I go through my announcements. But her mom is here to grab her in case she starts to get a little bit fussy. But anyway, totally love our little Chloe bug. So anyway, welcome to Touchbase Thursday for July 16th. And I had to tell you guys that I have a new microphone on the way, and I'm waiting on a cable. So I adjusted how I'm sitting a little bit, and hopefully you guys can hear me a little bit better and I'm not doing the normal in and out. We really do feed her, you guys, just so you know, we really do feed her. But anyway, so just have a few announcements. We're going to do our sharing stuff. And then I'm going to share with you guys some fun projects in a neat little box that I created using the Field of Flowers stamp set and coordinating dies, or coordinating punch this time. So anyway, as far as announcements, I want to make sure you guys are aware of bonus days. So bonus days is anybody who puts in a minimum $50 order in July, you get a $5 coupon emailed to you for $5 off of an order in August. And so I'm hoping you guys are liking my little assistant today. So make sure though, Stampin' Up, bless you, baby. So Stampin' Up will email you those coupon codes. Make sure you keep them because they cannot reissue them. And you want to make sure that you get that $5 coupon code to use for August, okay? Now, some of you are emailing them to me so that I have them for your order. If you're a club member, that's completely fine. But again, make sure that you keep those codes because they are good for $5 off an order then in August. Couple other announcements. My July classes are posted and ready for you guys to look at her. Isn't she just adorable? But my July classes are posted and ready for you guys to register for them. So I have the Playful Pets, the Peony cards, and Sunflower cards. And then in the next couple days, Nicole is going to be getting ready for me and posting my Jar Shaker cards that I showcased on a Facebook Live a few weeks ago. And also my Retreat in a Box is currently open. If you love that little, it was the little sunflower 8x8. And then also the Peony album that I posted. I created a beautiful, I haven't added pictures to it yet because I want to wait till my friend cuts it for me for class. But I designed a beautiful 12-page 6x8 album. We're going to actually focus on putting all of Chloe's pictures in it. So from her baptism. So anyway, so hi to Kay and Beth and Pat and Sandy and all the other ones that are joining me live. I'm going to go ahead and give this little love back to her mama. But thank you for letting me share her with you guys for a little while. She's here and I couldn't resist not sharing her with you guys. So last week, those of you that shared, I have 2 items up for grabs. And those were the holiday rhinestones. And the winner of the holiday rhinestones is Janet Krell. So Janet, congratulations. I will be seeing you next week, so I'll give you them at that time. And then the winner of the faceted gems is Paula. Is it Avion? I'm not sure if I'm saying your last name right. But Paula, I know I do not have your address, so if you could email that to me, I would greatly appreciate that, and I will get you your little elegant faceted gems in the mail to you. I'm trying to think of other announcements. Oh, one other big announcement. There's not a lot in the way of announcements today, so you guys are going to get me heading to my stamp table kind of early. But one thing I wanted to mention to any of you that place orders with me online, there is going to be a new online ordering system being implemented at the beginning of August. I think it's like August 5th. and it's supposed to make the online ordering experience for you, our customers, a heck of a lot easier. So I believe it shows like the actual picture of the item with the cost and an add to cart button right there. So it's gonna be a lot easier to be able to order. It will save, if any of you order from more than one demonstrator, it'll save your most recent demonstrators, so you can just click the person you want to place the order through. I don't know a whole lot about it other than that. I'm waiting for myself to be able to have some time to play with it, look at it. But any of you that place online orders with me, if you have any issues with it, please let me know, and I'll be happy to get the order in for you guys on that interim basis while we all figure out the new online ordering system. But I've been told that it's going to make it so much easier, so I'm keeping my fingers and toes crossed for that. So up for grabs for anybody who shares my video this week. So all you got to do is share my video to your page or to a page that you manage, and you'll get your name in the drawing to receive one of my 2 prizes. So I have the metallic pearls up for grabs this week and the butterfly gems. So again, those are what we will draw for next week. Make sure you comment shared. I don't always, if you share it, I don't always see all those shares. So it makes it a lot easier and better if you actually comment shared. I can scroll through my comments and get everyone's name in that drawing for that. I have a couple of classes that were open in June and into July that are going to be shipping soon. My zebra card class will be shipping out. I'll be prepping it this weekend. My Forever Fern class, I know so many of you are patiently waiting, maybe not so patiently waiting anymore, for that beautiful sampler and or those cards. And my issue is the ribbon. So any of you that purchased that, that class to go or a kit in the mail, the ribbon has been on back order. And I actually called Stampin' Up right before I went live with you all tonight, because the ribbon is no longer on what we call our inventory back order list. And I saw that you can actually order it. So I checked my order, and it hasn't shipped yet from June 4th, I think, that I placed it. So I did call them, and it is in picking, and it is due to ship tomorrow. And it's going to be coming faster. I'll probably have it in about 3 days. It's going to be coming through the mail instead of UPS, so they're faster. So I'm going to be prepping those kits to mail, so I can just throw those ribbon in there and get those out early next week. I appreciate all of your patience with that class, but the ribbon, I really couldn't substitute a different ribbon. It would just take away from the class. The ribbon that went with that just was gorgeous. So I think it's well worth the wait. So thank you guys so much for patiently waiting for that class. So with that, I'm going to transition down to my stamp area. So I'm going to show you first what I chose to do with you guys tonight. So I chose to focus on a bundle that I have not played with at all yet. And I know some of you are looking forward to having me do a zebra class. I promise you I will. Or the goat stamp set, and I'm waiting. I need to meet with my friend Denise to get the goat stamp from her. But I'm going to be focusing in on the field of flowers and the coordinating punch, and I'm going to be sharing with you some tips about the punch to help you have a better punching experience. No pun intended. And then I'm going to also share with you some neat things that you can do with the stamp set. You're going to see that I actually cut one of my stamps apart. Yes, it was the first time I've ever done it. Woo! But I did it, and I felt like it needed to happen. So I'll explain that to you here as well in just a little bit. So with that, I'm going to transition my camera down to my stamp area. You're going to get your little sneak peek, and then let's start stamping. Okay, so let me transition this down here. So, and I may have to move the cards up a little bit. I never know if I place them in the right spot for you guys to get a sneak peek, but there's your sneak peek, and now they're all going to go away. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started with showing you first the awesome bundle. And I need to grab a catalog so that I can tell you how much this is, because I don't know off the top of my head. I want to say it was $36. I will look that up and post it later. I don't have a catalog handy, and I really don't want to have to go and hunt one down. I have my holiday catalog handy, but not my annual catalog. Okay, but this is the stamp set and coordinating punch. It's called Field of Flowers. And I'm going to show you some little tips and tricks with this punch and what you can do to kind of help line this up and why the flowers are along the side. So I'm going to be getting to that in just a little bit. So first of all, let me start with the first card I want to share with you guys. And I tried to pick some colors that were kind of bright and really summery. And so I chose this color combination. Now I have not used this color combination before, but I have to say I really like this color combination. So this is the the Granny Apple Green, and I paired it with the Gorgeous Grape. And I used just a strip. So normally you probably have seen me design cards where I incorporate designer series paper, and this time I actually just incorporated some of the actual cardstock. So let me put all this off to the side. And so I am going to fold my Granny Apple Green in half. This is 5.5 by 8.5. Doesn't my nails just really kind of go with this whole bright, thing? Oh, good, Sandy, you got your scrapbook pages today. Yay. So that is the base of our card. And then I cut a piece of 1.25 by 4.25, so it will fit perfectly on my card here. And I'm just gonna go ahead and adhere this down using some of our Stamping Seal Plus. Just gonna adhere that down like that. And then I have a piece of Whisper White that is cut 5 by 3 3/4. And we're gonna do a little bit of stamping on that. Now I need to get in here a stamping mat, otherwise this is not gonna stamp the greatest. So let me bring in one of my mats here. Bear with me, guys. Okay, here we go. So with photopolymer stamps, sometimes you need to have a little foamy mat underneath. Well, these are my big foamies, but we're gonna do some stamping. So what I wanted to show you guys is what I did to this poor little stamp. Oh, Beth, thank you. I was right, it was $36. Thank you, Beth, Pat, whoever else commented on the cost. Thank you, guys. So this little Field of Flowers stamp right here was actually one stamp, and I made it 2, and it was because of this card that I was creating. So let me show you what I did. So this stamp was actually together like this. Can you see where I cut it? So it was one stamp, but I was really struggling with this because what was happening is I was stamping my my green stems kind of close together, and with this being together, it was really hard to get in here and stamp it in the right place. Can you see, like, that one would have worked, but then this one would not have. It would have been too far away. And so I decided to cut these apart. So I encourage you guys to really think about that sometimes, that, you know what, it's okay to stamp them up, to cut them apart, and then I just stamp them separate on top of the stems. So like I said, it was the first time that I actually cut into a photopolymer piece of stamp, and it was really easy to cut with paper snips, and it was so much easier for me to be able to stamp this card. So just a little tip and trick there. So for this one, I chose to use the Granny Apple Green for the stems, and then I incorporated some of the flowers with the Gorgeous Grape. So we're going to start with the Granny Apple Green, and all I did was stamped 4 of these on here. And my Granny Apple Green is very nice and a nice juicy ink pad. So I'm getting some really good color here. And then from there, I went ahead and added on the tops of those flowers. So with all the cards that I created for you this evening, I'm hoping I gave you a pretty good variety of the things you can do with this stamp set. So I'm bringing in my Gorgeous Grape. And what I did is I stamped a few of these with the bigger flower. So I'm going to do this one up here like that. And then I stamped this one over here like that. And this one here. I think I just did, I may have done 4. Maybe I did. We'll do that one on a little bit of an angle, so it's kind of stamped a little bit different. And then I'm going to stamp the other one, so you can see that I can get in here a lot easier to stamp this other one because they're not too close together. And that one I'm just going to stamp off a little bit. Isn't that gorgeous? How quick and simple and easy is that for stamping? Just close up my ink pad here. And then I went ahead and adhered this whole piece with some Stampin' Dimensionals. And let me bring those in here. And again, this card is very simple, very easy to duplicate, and that was my goal with this bundle. So I really think this bundle has gotten overlooked in the catalog because a lot of, I think, people look at it and think that, oh, that's too hard, it's going to be too complicated, and it's really not when you kind of simplify it and make it look a little bit easier. And that's, like I said, by cutting that apart has totally simplified my life with designing these. So you'll see in another card that I created it after I cut it apart as well. So I'm just going to adhere this down. And then I have a piece of 1 1/4 inch by, I think it's 4 cardstock. And then I did a white one, and I did it a little bit smaller. This is, I think, 1 inch by then 3 3/4. And I'm going to stamp my, oh, Janie, I miss you too. Cannot wait to see you. I'm telling you, I miss a lot of my people that I was seeing on a regular basis. It's so hard with these crazy times we have. So I stamped the word always over here on this side in the the Gorgeous Grape. Should have left that open. And then I stamped the word always and then my friend. So you can see my friend. Oh, here, this is the one. This one I did thinking of you. You can see I made a couple. This one I did always thinking of you. This one I did always my friend. Sorry, I got extra ones here. So we're going to do the thinking of you, which is what I got out because I think that I would send out, I have so many friend cards. I need to get them out to some of you guys. But I think you guys, those of you that have been purchasing my classes and whatnot, actually I ended up stamping my friend. You'll notice that I never ever send a package out without a card in it because that's what we do, right? So you usually get a card from me of some sort in your kits. And then I'm just going to adhere this together. Again, using some of the seal adhesive. Oh, I better move up so you guys can see me a little bit better. And then I put that on with some dimensionals. And I'm just going to put a couple on here for the sake of putting them on. Let me bring the sample back in here, or the one I'm working on. And then I'm just going to put this on. I lined this up with the white part. And then I added a couple of rhinestones to it. So let me get my rhinestones off here. Whoops, and then they go all over the place. I'm just going to add a rhinestone here. And then one here, kind of line them up, push them up so they line up together better. And there you have a really simple card with that stamp set. Now you could incorporate many different colors into this. So one of the cards or boxes that I created, I used the Magenta Madness. That would look good with the Granny Apple Green, or that would also look good with the Gorgeous Grape. So I just really like the bright look of this card. So quick, easy, simple. Isn't that pretty? Okay, so moving right along. Thanks everyone for all the hearts and love. I always appreciate that when you guys do that. So the next card I'm going to share with you is this one right here. And for this card, I do need to make sure I clean my blocks because I use these stamps over and over and over again. The last thing I want is to accidentally ruin one of my ink pads because I didn't clean them off. Okay, so this card, again, is a very simple, easy card. You're going to notice tonight that all of my cards are very, well, one of them's a little bit more, I wouldn't say complicated, but a little bit more detailed. But my whole purpose tonight was to show you how easy you can create a card just by doing some simple stamping. And so you can see on this card, it was I'm designed after I cut my stamp set apart because I really needed to have that apart to be able to stamp this one right here, okay? Oh, let me find the right white one. There we go. So for this one, I used the So Saffron, and I paired it with the Pool Party and then some Whisper White. So this one's going to look a little bit more subtle, just a little bit more subtle. And then this is my card base is 5.5 by 8.5, and then I have this one cut actually at 5 1/8 by 3, I have to think for a minute. I used the 1/8 of an inch. So the white one is cut 5 by 3 3/4. And so this one is cut 5 1/8 by, okay, it's going to be 3 3/4 plus 2 little tick marks. So I think it's 5/8. maybe it's 7/8. Anyway, you kind of get the idea. Instead of going to the 1/4 of an inch, I just did it to the 1/8 of an inch. And we're going to do some stamping on this one first. Lots of different stamping. And so the colors that I chose to use on this card are let me get the ones I don't need out of the way. I used Terracotta Tile. I used Flirty Flamingo. I used the So Saffron and the gray. Oh no, it's not Terracotta Tile. It is. Oh yeah, it is. And the gray. Okay, so I use no. Pool Party. Sorry, I had too many ink pads here. So these are the colors of ink that I chose to use. Okay, so it is the Terracotta Tile, Flirty Flamingo, So Saffron, Pool Party. Of course, I would use these two because that's the 2 colors of cardstock that I used. And I'm just going to stamp on this randomly. So we're going to start with the little dragonflies. The dragonflies, I used the Pool Party. Let me see if I can get all this to fit in here so you guys can see it good. So let me find my dragonfly stamp. There it is. I kind of have everything on blocks already, so I'm just going to stamp. Now you're going to see that this is going to look a little bit different than the one that I did before because I'm not kind of following my sample. I'm just going to stamp wherever I want to and get whatever image I get. So there's some of those, and then I used the Flirty Flamingo for the real little flower. So let me bring Flirty Flamingo in next here. Oh, Patty, I so remember that you like dragonflies because there was that one bundle that you really liked. So I'm just going to stamp some of these little flowers here every so often. And then I'm going to bring in the big flower, and that one I used the Terracotta Tile on. Again, just quick, simple, easy stamping, not kind of overthinking any of this. And we'll stamp one down here on the bottom. Maybe one off to the side here a little bit, okay? And then the final thing that I stamped was some of the little flowers that coordinate with that punch in using the So Saffron. So I'll pull in my So Saffron. And I will demonstrate that punch for you guys when we get to the little box, because that's where I will show you how easy it is to line that up. And then this, I'm just going to kind of stamp sporadically, and I'm just even going to go right on top of some of the other stuff that I've stamped and incorporate some yellow little flowers to this. Look how pretty that is. Isn't that pretty? So I want you kind of to look at this for a minute because you're going to see how layers, I'm a big layer person. Layers alone can give you the depth and volume that you want with a card that's just as simple as this easy stamping is. So right now this looks kind of plain, right? But once we start layering it with the colors that coordinate, this is where Stampin' Up! Excels amazingly well, is in all their color coordination. So once I add these layers to this, you're gonna see that it is going to look, and I'm gonna run out of adhesive here pretty quick, I think too, you guys, I'm close. Hopefully I don't for my Facebook Live. But by adding these layers, you're gonna see that it just totally brings this right to life. Oh, I need to stamp my always. Ooh, no one caught me on that one. So this one I just stamped the word always on it, and I think I need to clean that one. I don't think I cleaned it. That's the only problem with having all these little stamps, is that you have to remember to clean them in between your cards. So I'm just going to clean a couple of them real quick while I have this open. So I'm just using my chamois off to the side. I know you guys can't see me do that. But I'm off to the side cleaning my stamps so that way they're ready to go for my next card. And I used always, and I used the Memento black ink, so I'm just going to ink that up really good. And then I'm just going to stamp the word always across the bottom here. There we go. And then I'm going to fold my So Saffron piece in half. And I am crazy about always making sure I cover up my ink pads. I've ruined so much cardstock by leaving them open and not closing them. But look at what that just does to that stamped piece. Doesn't that just pull that right out and make it just like really come to life? I really like that. So I'm going to adhere this down to my card. And then I topped it off with a few rhinestones sporadically on here. So let me pull in my rhinestones again. And the rhinestones just give it a little bit of bling. Who doesn't like a little bit of bling, right? And so I'm gonna add one to the center of that. Oh, I'll add one down here. And one over here, and then one down here on the bottom. And I'm just picking random sizes to that. But look at that. Look how simple. Again, a very simple, easy duplicatable card just by simple stamping. So pretty. So can you see how you could really get creative with different colors with this kind of a card as well? Lots of different things that you could do with that one. Okay. So card number 3 is also going to be a very simple stamped card. And this one, I chose to use the, let me get some of these inks out of the way that I don't need anymore. I chose to use the Granny Apple Green, the Poppy Parade, although I re-inked my Granny Apple Green, so mine are going to be stamping a lot brighter than that. And I used, there it is, lots of ink pads out tonight, you guys. And then I used the, sorry for the reach, the gray granite. So those are the 3 colors that I used. And for this card, I chose to just do it on Whisper White with a Whisper White matte. Now, sometimes people say to me, why do you do that? Why wouldn't you just stamp on your Whisper White cardstock? Why do you include a matte? And I do that, again, for a little bit of depth. You can kind of then just see the little border around it, and it just kind of gives it a nice little look. And so I do that a lot. I am not one for just stamping onto the front of a card. I usually always have a mat that's 5 1/4 by 4, and that's what I incorporate my stamping in. So my cardstock though for the base, again, is Whisper White, 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, folded in half, or you can also score it at 4 1/4. And then I have this mat of 5 1/4 by 4. This is what we're going to do some stamping on. And so for this one, and I need to also clean off my always again, so I'm not going to forget the always. So a new trend that I've noticed that's out with stamping as well is this right here where you stamp and then you cut it out with scissors and just kind of have it be like a little block look. That's becoming very popular as well. So for this one, I'm going to start with my Granny Apple Green. You're going to see that I have 2 different colors. It looks like 2 different colors of green down here, but I really don't. So what I did is I stamped on full strength ink with the stamp, which is the grass looking with some little flowers. And then I did the leaves where the stems where I stamped off and then stamped back on. So let's go ahead and do the stamping of the leaves on the bottom completely across. So I'm going to do that first. I'm just going to stamp that down. Okay, so that's going to be full strength. And then I'm going to bring in my leaf here, or my stem. Sorry, I keep saying everything backwards. Stamp off, and then I'm going to stamp on. And you can see how that gives it a different, totally different look by getting rid of some of that ink. Stamping off, stamping on. Okay? So again, you can kind of see how that makes that look. And then I'm going to bring in Poppy Parade. So this is the one that I used the Poppy Parade on. And I'm going to bring those 2 flowers in again. And like I said, I've cut them apart just because I figured it was easier for me to work with that way. So this is the bigger one. And I'm going to stamp the first one here like that. And then like this. And then like that. And then I'm going to bring in the little one. And I'm going to stamp this one down there, this one down a little bit further, and then this one I'll just kind of stamp even like that. So I even added a little bit more, but you can see how easy that is to stamp and how easy that is to line up. It is so, so simple. And then I have my basic gray to add a couple of the dragonflies again. So this is the gray granite. And I'm just going to stamp one up here. And then I'm going to stamp one in between down here like that. And then I'm going to grab my Granny Apple Green ink again and stamp the word always. So can you guys see, if you like to stamp, how easy and simple these cards are going to be for you? I really like that. Sometimes I like just to sit and stamp and not have to worry about, you know, getting up and use the Big Shot or incorporating ribbon or anything like that. So sometimes I really like, hi Philomena, sometimes I just really like the simplicity of it. I've then cut a little strip of this Granny Apple Green cardstock, and I'm gonna bring in my Granny Apple Green. I'm gonna find my birthday sentiment. So my friend. And I'm just gonna stamp on top of this like that. And then we're gonna cut that off and glue that down to the card. So I'm just gonna trim this off like that. And I'm gonna actually, because I'm running out of adhesive and I'm hoping I don't have to go and hunt some down and replace my refill, or replace it with a refill. I'm gonna use a couple glue dots in this case. So I would normally just use, you know, adhesive. And my friend always is gonna go right there like that. And then I'm gonna incorporate this right here onto my card base like that. Again, a really quick and simple card. But that is my goal. Like I said, my goal tonight was to show you simple stamping and just how easy it is to make a card without needing, you know, a lot of product. So anyway, so there's that card. Gail, thank you for joining, and I'm glad that you are liking my cards so far. Thank you so much. Okay, so my final card is actually going to be a stepped up card. So this one's a little bit fancier, and I am going to show you how to use the punch. So this one's all about the punch. Let me grab my products here that I've already got cut for this card and get them to the side. So for this card, I chose to use Bumblebee and Misty Moonlight. I will tell you that these two cards have become, Beth, I love simple too. Hi, Mary. Just saw Mary pop on here as well. These two colors have become really popular for me right now. My sister made a card with these not too long ago, and these are the two in colors that she chose for a swap that she was in. And ever since that card she created, I have loved these two new in colors together. I think they pair nicely. They're great for the fall. They're great for the summer. So anyway, I had to use them again. I couldn't help it. So my card base is Whisper White, 5.5 by 8.5. Gonna fold that in half. And then I have a piece of the Bumblebee, 5.25 by 4, and I embossed this with the Textures embossing folder in advance of my live tonight. So this is embossed with the Stampin' Emboss die cutting machine. And then I have a piece of the, oops, I have one right here. This is a piece of the In Color Designer Series paper. This is cut 2 by, and I cut it, this one I cut a little bit short. So this one I cut the full length of the mat. So this is 5.25 by 2. And I'm going to adhere these two together, and then we're gonna put some ribbon around them. So I'm just gonna add a little bit of adhesive here. And that's gonna go right down here across the middle. And then I wanted to incorporate some, so for this card I used Old Olive. So I went to see what we had in our catalog for Old Olive ribbon, and part of the Ornate bundle has the Old Olive, and so that I went ahead and just put right here in the middle. And those of you that are new to my Facebook Live are gonna see the cheater way of how I add bows and ribbons to my cards. Because I think it makes it very simple for anybody who might struggle. I just put a glue dot on the end of my ribbon, and it's enough to just go around the edges. And in this case, I did a bow. So what I did is I just then make a bow with the ribbon. So I'm just going to make a simple bow. And then I glue dot that on top. So this way I don't have to go all the way around the card and try to make a pretty bow, because I struggle with that. It just doesn't work for me. And this works so much better. And then I just snip the ends of that to kind of make it even with my, kind of like flush with the loops of the bow. And then I'm going to just, oh, and I forgot that I also put, so let me glue one thing underneath here before I get too far ahead of myself. Usually what I do when I do cards like this is I incorporate these two pieces on top. But what I did on this one, if you guys can see, is I actually glued this Misty Moonlight. These two pieces are cut with the layering squares, and I actually layered this underneath here before I put that ribbon down. So we're just going to sneak it underneath here like that. And then I'm going to stamp on this, and we're going to put this onto the card right there. But we're going to glue dot this to that. So I'm just going to grab a glue dot, and I'm going to glue dot that on there. And if you don't like how this kind of comes up like that, I usually take a glue dot. I just take one with my fingernail and kind of pick it off the roll. And I actually put it right underneath that knot. So that way that will stay really nice and good. It won't move around on me. And I like that a lot. So the next thing we're going to do is going to do some stamping onto this. And I'm going to bring in the Old Olive. And let me clean off my block again, or my stamp. Again, it's the problem when you have all of these stamps that I keep reusing over and over again. And I'm going to stamp on the bottom. This is that great big long, like grass looking stamp. And so I'm just going to stamp this along the bottom. So it's definitely going to need to kind of be stamped off onto the sides, but I'm going right on the bottom, and I'm just going to stamp that like that. And then I used the Poppy Parade. So let me close up my green. I used Poppy Parade, and I used the Real Little flower stamp, which I think I cleaned off. Yep, I did. And I'm just gonna stamp this on some of these, like by these taller like areas here, just like that. And then the next thing I'm going to share with you is that awesome punch, because I haven't shared the punch with you guys yet. So, and I didn't use the punch a lot because, like I said, I was just sitting here enjoying my stamp time, and I just kept going with regular stamping. But I do want to share with you guys how to use that punch. So I'm going to pull this to the side for a minute, and I'm going to bring in a couple scraps of paper, and then I'm going to show you how to use that. So let me find my punch. Here it is. Put it all the way over to the other side. Okay, so what you're going to do, let's just say this was your card. I'm going to first show you how to use this punch if you wanted like a border. So say you had a card where you wanted on the one side of it to have a border of this cut out. What you do is you're going to just kind of line this up. So this was your card. You'd line it up in the middle best you can, and you're just going to push the punch down. Okay, after you do that, what this side here is for you to be able to line up those punched images. So for instance, can you guys see the silver parts right here? So in order to line this up and to keep going, you just move this over till you line up the flowers. So right there you can see those flowers line up. To see how they cover perfectly that silver space? Let me try to do that again so you guys can see. So you're just going to move this over and keep it flush to this until you see where it covers up those silver flowers. You then know it's lined up and ready for the next punch. You see that? So if I had more to go, and you can do the same thing on the other side. So I'm going to line these up. Let's see if I can find where there they lined up, and I'm going to punch. So that is the way that you would use this punch if you were doing it for a border. So let's say on my card, let's just say right here on this card, I wanted this to be a border of the cutouts, okay? That's how you would use it. Now you can also keep all of this little stuff that you've punched out and use it as confetti or something along that lines, or for shaker cards or something like that. So now I want to show you how you use the punch when you're going to be doing stamping with it. So let me bring in another one of my scraps here of white. And so, and I actually, on my card, and I didn't bring these samples, these card stacks over, so I'm just gonna use white. But on my sample, I actually used some scraps of the Bumblebee and scraps of Purple Posy, and I stamped and then punched them out with the punch. I stamped on cardstock color, but you really couldn't tell the difference. So we're just gonna use white, and I'm going to bring in my gorgeous grape, and we're gonna stamp with that flower. So in your stamp set, you have this stamp right here, and that's what we're going to be using tonight. So it's this one right here. And if you look at your punch, you will see that it kind of lines up. Can you tell that? It's going to line up if you, well, you'll see in a minute what I mean. So it will line up. So I am going to go ahead and I'm going to stamp my flowers on here. And then what you're gonna do is you take your punch and you go upside down with it and you line these up, put it in here till you can line them up. Can you guys see how I'm lining those up? I'm just moving this around till they line up perfect. And then I just squeeze tight to hold it. And then I always turn it over to get the leverage that I need. And there you have some cute little flowers punched out using the stamped image. And then what I did is I incorporated some of those onto my card. So for this card, for the sake of it not being too time consuming, I am just going to use some of these purple flowers. I won't make some yellow ones because I still have one more project that I want to share with you guys. And then you're just going to incorporate some of these little flowers sporadically on your card. And I'm just using some glue dots to pick these up with. And I'm going to put one more on there. And again, this is a great way also for you to be able to make, if you wanted to do like a shaker card and make your own little shakers, you could actually stamp these and do that as well. So anyway, so there we have it that way. And then I'm going to bring in my Memento black ink and I stamped the word always across the top. So, and I think I've cleaned that. I'm just going to stamp always like that. And then I did the exact same thing that I did on that other card where I have a little strip of the purple posy and I used the gorgeous grape and I'm going to have it say always thinking of you. So I'm just going to take thinking of you and stamp it across here like that. And cut that down, trim it a little bit, and adhere that to this piece. And I'm just going to use some glue dots. Well, glue dot on the wrong side, so we have to pick that one off. That's the neat thing. If you do that, look at that, you guys. They come right off just by rubbing your thumb or your finger across it. And then I'm just going to put a couple of glue dots on that. And thinking of you is going to go right across the top. I actually used dimensionals on my sample, so you can kind of see there that they got dimensionals. So sorry I forgot about that. But I also don't have my mini dimensionals here. I only have my big dimensionals. I always forget minis. I think every single Facebook Live that I do with you guys, I forget to grab the minis. I'm just not a real big mini dimensional user. I use the regular ones a lot more. And so that I think is kind of why when I'm setting up for my Facebook Live, I usually set up the night before because I'm back to work now, so I can't do it over my lunch hour from home anymore. But I'm always making sure I have the adhesives, and in my head it's like my Stampin' Seal, my dimensionals, my glue dots. And so when I go for dimensionals, this is what I grab. So, and then I'm just going to go ahead and put that right in the middle. And then this is going to go onto my Whisper white piece. And I'm going to hope and pray that I have enough adhesive in there. I'm getting down to the wire, you guys, for my last third and final project. And my fourth and final, fifth and final. So anyway, there you have a pretty card. I didn't incorporate the little yellow ones on there, but I will. But you guys kind of get the idea. So that's a little bit more of a stepped up version using the stamp set and how you can incorporate the punch with it. So very pretty, right? Okay. So let me get these out of the way and let me show you guys my final project. So my final project for tonight is this cute little box. Now this box could be used to put a box of candy in there. It would fit like a theater style box of candy perfectly. You could also use it just to put like little any kind of little treats in there that you might want to put in. And so we're going to make this box. You're going to see here, and I probably won't actually stamp all of that, but you can see here how I just incorporated. I love this color combination too. So this is the Magenta Madness and the Granny Apple Green, a great color combination for this summer. Love how pretty this turned out. And so I'm going to show you how I made this awesome little box, and like the little rhinestones in the middle of those too. So this box, you're going to start out with a piece piece of, and I need to get my trimmer. Oh no, I just made a mess. So what I just did, because Kim didn't clean her stamps, is the Whisper White piece of cardstock that I'm going to be using for my box has a little bit of purple on it from these leaves, but it's okay. So I'm just going to take a minute, clean up my stamps, because I should seriously take a picture of this and post it so you guys can see what a mess I make when I do my Facebook Lives. I can't be the only one that completely destroys their workspace and makes a mess though. But yeah, I had a stamp block sitting up like this, and it went over. You know how that goes, right? Of course it's pink, Carol. I love pink. You're so cute. I love it. Okay. So I started with a piece of Whisper White cardstock, and there's my purple blob. So Carol, the purple's for you. And we're gonna do some scoring on that. So let me bring in my trimmer. I had to go get it from the corner. Okay, so we're gonna do some scoring, and I will post the dimensions for this box in the description right after my video. And you'll be able to see how I did this. So I'm thinking that I may have cut, no, I think I left it the full size. So yeah, my purple blob. You see my purple blob? Okay, so I'm just gonna bring out my arm on this. And so on the 8.5 inch side, I'm gonna score at 1.5. That's gonna be the bottom of my card. So hopefully I cover up my blob. So 1.5, make sure you have your scoring blade and not your cutting blade. And then on the long side, I'm going to score at 1.5 again, so 1.5. And then I'm going to score again at 5 1/4, and then again at 6 3/4, and then again at 10 1/2. Okay, let me get this out of the way. So that is all of the scoring that we're going to need to do. And then I cut off this real little tab down here that this creates. Okay, and then I just kind of cut these little ends off a little bit so that my box will go together a little bit better. Okay, so that's all I've done so far. There we go. And now I'm going to, I'm going to also cut up on all of these lines. This is where I did that very first 1.5 inch score. So I'm going to cut up on all of these lines. I can see them, right? And then we're just going to go ahead and we're going to crease on every single one of these score lines. So I'm going to crease like this. Oops, like that. Like that. And then I'm going to also bring these up. Okay, and then all I did was I put some adhesive on these little tabs right here. So I'm hoping, like I said, I don't run out of adhesive. But if I do, you guys are going to get the gist of it, because this is the hardest part, if there is a hard part. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to fold this up, and I'm going to fold this up. Oh, I need adhesive on this tab as well. I think I do. And then I'm going to fold that one in, and I'm going to fold this one in. So the purple's gone, bye-bye. Yay! And then you just want to make sure you put your hand in there and you kind of get that lined up good, and you're going to give it a good, good little push there. And then I'm going to put some adhesive on this little tab, and it goes right in together like this. Okay, so I'm going to actually, for the purpose of, like I said, my adhesive I know is out. So I'm just going to use some glue dots to finish my projects tonight. So you guys will get the gist of it here. And I'm just going to put this in here, and I can glue it better later. So, okay, right? It works. Ta-da! Okay, then I have a piece of the Magenta Madness cardstock, and this Magenta Madness cardstock is cut. I basically just took the 6x6 piece and cut it at 3 inch. So it's a 3x6 inch piece of paper. And yeah, okay, so this is gonna have to also be glue dotted. It's all right. I'm almost done. Bear with me, guys. I'm just going to stick this down to the front of the box. And then I used some of the ribbon. This is the Magenta Madness ribbon. And I'm going to show you guys how I cheated on this as well, because Kim cheats on everything that she does. So I put a glue dot on the end of this, okay? I'm going to put this and start it right about here. I'm going to wrap this around. Let me bring off the ribbon to this side. I'm going to wrap it around, and then I'm going to cut it right where it's going to meet the other one, because it's going to be covered up. No one is going to see that. Now, if you're good at going all the way around and actually getting a good, nice tie there and getting it tight, then by all means do that. But I have struggled with that all the time, and so I just kind of come up with my own little ways, because no one's going to see it underneath. They're going to think you wrapped this puppy all the way around. So I'm just going to kind of go on top of that. Okay, and you want to make sure it's straight. So I'm not straight right now, but now I am. And then I just cut another little piece at an angle. I put it on underneath of here, and I just tied it on. So I wanted to make sure I showed you guys that neat little trick. And then I'm just going to cut these at an angle like that. And then I punched out, I used the 2 1/4 inch circle punch. So this is going to go on with some dimensionals. And then I did the stamping part in using both the Granny Apple Green and the Magenta Madness. So let me... This will just go on here like this, so you can see that's going to cover up that spot. And the neat thing is because I tied this on, I can move it down so it's out of my way a little bit further. Another thing that's cool about that. And I'm not going to actually stamp the part that needs to go on here, because I've already kind of showcased that. But I just stamped some of those leaves. I did some of, this is the Rococo Rose color, and then the magenta, and added the little rhinestones to it. And there you have a really quick and simple, easy box that you can use to give, you know, treats to your grandchildren or treats to a neighbor. You could even package some cute little cookies in there and stick them in there, really cute. So anyway, isn't that awesome? It's so fun. So I had lots of fun designing with this stamp set tonight. Now, anybody who puts in a minimum $30 qualifying order, so $36 would get you this amazing bundle. You will receive 3 of the projects that I made tonight. And it will probably, if you wanted the box, I would include the box. I just wouldn't be able to actually assemble it all. But I do have a host code on my website at kimsbasementbunch.com. And like I said, you'd be able to get 3 of these completed projects. So I complete them for you so that you don't have to do any of the stamping or anything like that. And I also want to let you guys know that I still have lots of my Retreat in a Boxes available. That was using the beautiful sunflower paper and stuff. So if that's something that you're still interested in, make sure you register. I have a limited number of those available. I'm trying to find my 4th card. I did 4 cards plus the box. Oh, this is the one I forgot. And this beautiful one right here. So anyway, thank you guys so very much for joining. If you put that order in from now through Sunday night, and it cannot be part of a club order. It has to be a separate order. But you will receive 3 of these projects that I demonstrated for you tonight. And I hope that you guys enjoyed what I picked for you guys this week. I'm not sure what I'm going to be showcasing next week. It might just be another surprise, whenever Kim looks over. Usually what I do is I look over on my stash of stamps and stuff and go, oh, I haven't played with this one yet, or I haven't played with that one yet. I'm also thinking about doing this as one of my classes in August. So any of you that are part of my club, you might also be able to get this as part of your club selection. But I would probably have another card, or I could even just leave it as the box and have it be 4 cards in the box for you guys, 2 boxes. So anyway, thank you all so very much for joining me tonight. I hope you enjoyed my presentation of the Field of Flowers stamp set and punch, and I hope you consider adding it to your collection. So thanks everyone. Have a wonderful weekend, and I will see all of you back here next Thursday for another great stamping presentation. Bye everyone.